Good evening, folks. Welcome to Politically Animated and the circus we call politics, where today Mayor Eric Adams had what could only be described as a tense press briefing. And by tense, I mean it was so tight, you could almost hear the sound of political careers being squeezed. Imagine the conversation. Hey, Tom, love what you've done with the border, but can we talk about where we're going to deport the paperwork? Adams starts off by attacking the press, saying they've got preconceived notions. Yeah, like the notion that this meeting would be anything but a fun-filled fiesta of policy discussion. Here's Adams, probably thinking, I'll just blame the media. That always works. And the policy talk? Oh, it was as clear as mud in the East River. We're not a sanctuary for criminals, he says. Translation, we're still figuring out how to dodge the real issues.
Good afternoon. And, these are tough times. We got to make tough decisions. And I have stood in front of you guys, many of you, throughout this entire migrant asylum seeker ordeal, and took great strides to articulate my position. Just to wake up the next day and see you write different stories that distort what I've stated. So I'm not wasting my time. I'm being very clear, and I'm not going to spend hours answering your questions over and over again for you already to have your preconceived notions and your distorted views on what I have articulated. We're going to protect the rights of immigrants in the city that are hardworking, giving back to the city in a real way. We're not going to be a safe haven for those who commit repeated violent crimes against innocent migrants, immigrants, and longstanding New Yorkers. That was my conversation today with the border czar to figure out how do we go after those individuals who are repeatedly committing crimes in our city. We're going to tell those who are here, who are law-abiding, to continue to utilize the services that are open to the city, the services that they have a right to utilize, educating their children, health care, public protection, and the things that we have long been proudful in doing so. But we will not be a safe haven for those who commit violent acts. We don't do it for those who are citizens, and we're not going to do it for those who are undocumented. We made terrible mistakes in the past by preventing to keep our city safe from those who are committed repeated acts of violence, particularly these dangerous gangs that we have witnessed in our city, and we're not going to continue in that direction. I'm going to answer a few questions, and then I am leaving, because it's not going to matter what I respond to anyway. You have your preconceived thoughts already.
Every time a reporter tried to pin him down, it was like watching someone try to catch a greased pig at the state fair. Violent criminals? Oh, we'll deal with them. How? Well, let's just say we'll think about it after coffee. And then there's the chemistry between these two. It's like watching your divorced parents try to be civil at your graduation. We agree on safety, Adams says. Sure, because agreeing on safety is like agreeing that water is wet. It's the how that's the comedy show, folks. First
of all, I do not have a preconceived thought. I want you to know that right from the start.
Thank you.
Number one here, are we talking about people who are just charged? Or does that, convicted, or does that include charged? And how exactly, if you could give us some specifics, would this work?
Our legal team is vetting. Do we have the authorization to sit down and speak with ICE legal team to operationalize what both our desires are? And once we get that approval, then we will give you a complete layout of how it's going to work.
Mayor?
Yes.
Right here, sir. When you told Mr. Homan, I'm willing to work with you to make sure we're not a safe haven for people committing crimes, did he push back and say, I'm looking to deport beyond that? I'm looking to deport undocumented people simply because they are documented dreamers, for instance, asylum seeking migrants who have not committing crimes? And what, if anything, did you say about deporting those people who have not done any crime?
He told you he pushed back on it?
I'm asking you, did
okay, all right.
he push back on you saying I want a broader scope?
From what I heard from the incoming head of ICE is that we have the same desire to go after those who are committing violent acts, repeated violent acts among innocent New Yorkers and among migrants and asylum seekers. That's what I heard from him, and I was pleased to hear that because we share the same desire.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
Good. How are you, Craig?
Good. So, in part of this meeting, you were looking at how to address it and kind of meet the new administration a little halfway here, maybe, however you guys are going to meet. Part of that conversation, as you've mentioned, Marsha Kramer's show, is looking at executive orders. So was there any talk about executive orders? And then what would those executive orders entail, and how would they work to kind of address what you had discussed with the orders are today?
I spoke with our my legal team here to look at the powers of my executive orders to accomplish my goals of ridding our streets from those repeated individuals who carry out violent acts of violence towards New Yorkers and towards migrants and asylum seekers. And once we come to a full understanding of that, then we will report on it.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. What did you ask incoming order czar Homan about his plans for his scope for deportation? What questions did you ask him about how far he wants to go with deportations, and what did he tell you?
Well, I think that what has been reported is totally distorted from what our face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball conversation. His goal is the same goal I have. We cannot allow dangerous individuals to commit repeated violent acts of violence in our cities across America. I've said this before, and I'm surprised the way everyone is attempting to state this is a new coming of Eric Adams. I've stated this over and over again, long before this election, that this can't be a safe haven for violent individuals. You have a right, a privilege to live in this country, and those who want to commit acts of violence, they are violating that privilege.
Sir, that if you're a law-abiding that Yolanda has to fear.
We got to keep it tight. Yolanda, go ahead.
But let's give credit where credit's due. Adams managed to make a meeting about deportation sound like he was talking about a new city park opening. We're going to keep our city safe, he says, probably wishing he was talking about dog parks instead. So, there you have it. The tense press briefing that was more cringe than comedy. But hey, in the world of politics, sometimes you've got to laugh to keep from crying. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more political satire, because if we don't laugh, we'll definitely cry. Catch you next time.